As you can see, my name is Trav, and I'm the founder of a company called Neighbourhood. We do 3 simple things for our clients. We help them find, sell and keep, which actually has nothing to do with kidnapping people. But we simply help our clients in marketing, sales and customer service. This is officially my second ever keynote speech. So I was pretty overwhelming to have Steve Baxter warm up for me, but I'm pretty stoked on it, so thank you very much, Steve. But my first keynote speech had 186. Thanks, Steve. 186 ums and ahs, awkward pauses, a lot of nervous laughter, so I'm aiming to keep them to about 100 for today. So today we're going to go through and dive into seeing how the world, as your customers do. And we can all get pretty caught up in our businesses, but sometimes it's hard to stop and think what they're actually seeing. Missed that one. Bad start. I started Neighbourhood because I really hate bad marketing. Like, I really hate it. Is anyone sick of seeing instances, offers, and the same Shutterstock images over and over again, which kind of makes you feel just like, oh, I've seen it so many times, it's just ridiculous. He actually has a name. He's that Hide the Pain Harold. He's a doctor. And he does on the side Shutterstock stuff. So I don't know how many times I've seen businesses spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on Google ads, Facebook advertising, radio advertising, and just spruiking to buy their product. It's as bad as the actual spruikers that shout from outside the jewellery stores. I can't remember the last time I saw on TV, I watched TV and sort of said to myself, you know what, I'm going to duck down and buy a Ford right now, actually. In this day and age, we really like to research our options. We like to double-check, triple-check, and before we even actually talk to anyone at all. Salespeople often are seen as that really gross, slimy, over-friendly guy or girl that is going to pest you with phone calls, emails, text messages, pressuring you to purchase their products and services, and we avoid them at all costs. I know I hate it, hence why our agency works around a type of marketing called inbound marketing. Now, you might have seen it around without even knowing it, but it's the response to the way consumers use the internet in the modern day. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of info on how we market and sell to people without being that annoying salesperson, and we truly help people solve their problems. Hopefully with some of these points, you'll be able to bring them back to your business and hopefully work them into what you do. And if you're not in charge of sales and marketing, you can just be a little bit more aware of your own buying journey. And then you can also spot the people that are doing marketing the right way. So without carrying on, let's talk a little bit more about inbound marketing and how it all works. So let's start back let's just sort of start about 50 years ago. Maybe let's talk about when my dad, about 50 years ago, this is my dad. You can call him Mr. White if you want, and a lot's changed in the area of marketing since then. Dad had a lot of people calling his phone every single night trying to sell his products. He'd listen to them. He'd often take them up on their offer. He'd come home and he'd open up the mailbox. He'd read the junk mail. He'd often call up and buy something. On the weekends, he'd open up the newspaper and spend the morning going through the mail, buying things from the classified. He'd turn on the TV. Ads were blaring. The radio was blaring. People were trying to sell him stuff that he didn't need. This is how marketing was done back then. No internet, no way to research. What you saw is what you got, and the only real source of truth being word of mouth and recommendations. But a lot's changed since then. Fast forward to today, which is me. Not only do we still have these channels, but we have the internet, and it's changed completely on how we shop for things, and we need it in our lives. You could say that things have got a little bit more intense and a little bit more fast-paced. People are emailing you from another country selling you their services that you didn't know you needed. You've got ads popping up everywhere telling you that you need to buy this holiday and buy those shoes. But the good thing about is that people in this day and age don't like being sold to. And we've created all different types of software to try and get rid of these annoying ads. Can I get a show of hands, anybody that uses any of these types of pieces of software at all? So we can all pretty much say that we hate advertising, we try to avoid it at all costs. That was bait, I knew everyone watches those. We have ad blocking software to turn ads off, and we're all moving to make sure that we don't get sold to. Our Gmail accounts have better spam protection, so we get less and less unwanted mail. You can now get Spotify with no ads. We don't answer private numbers. Time has progressed, and we as humans have developed tools and tricks to turn off these annoying ads because of one simple thing. We don't give a shit. The old school way of marketing is easy for any Joe Blow to make up an ad, whip it up, throw a heap of money into it, and then spam the crap out of everyone. Because that is what we've always learned and how it's been done. And in regards to most of the time, sorry, I missed that part. So let's look into a certain situation, the day and the age of how we try and solve some problems. Say that you're a guy that doesn't have too much experience in doing keynote speeches. Let's call him Trevor Black. No relation to me whatsoever. Sounds the same, but completely no relation to me at all. Handsome young fella, though. The week before his keynote, he's trying to perfect his keynote speech. So Trevor goes onto Google and searches how to plan for a good keynote speech. All of a sudden, there's articles giving advice on how to give a good keynote speech. He reads those and downloads a few PDF planning tools, and then he uses these tools to plan his keynote speech. As time goes on, the people that send him those PDF booklets to try and help him send a few more emails giving him some more tips and tricks. Now he's sucking these up like crazy because he needs all the help he can get. All of a sudden, it's 11 p.m. at the night in the middle of writing his speech, and he gets another email from one of those companies. They mention to him that they hold free public speaking classes to try and help. I need a bit more of them. I mean, Trevor does. This is exactly what I want. He wants, sorry. He attends the free classes. That was a typo in my own speech. Wow. He attends the free classes and meets like-minded people that are in the same boat as him. After the free class, they come up to him and they say, "Hey, Trevor, are you keen to get even better at this?" "Of course," he says. All right, I again. He pays, and now he's on the way to become a better public speaker. I've wrote here that I can confirm I did not attend any of these classes, but this is called inbound marketing. We are no longer taking anyone's word for it, and we're doing our own research into products and services that we need and making educated decisions in the problem-solving process. During that whole process, there were no ads, because the ad blockers are on, no radio, no TV ads, just content to help me, I've really got to stop doing this, to help him to try and solve his problem on buying the best value, on the best value that he can be. So let's talk about inbound a little bit more. Inbound essentially is creating the right content to try and help a current or future customer solve their problem. And this is where this marketing is vastly different. We're completely changing the idea of selling to helping, which is, in my opinion, a whole lot better. We are all here to help each other in every single way, and we're not here to sell. We're here to help. And if we are helping our customers solve their problems and giving them a solution that honestly helps them, it all makes us feel a lot better. It was a bit of an aha moment for me when I realized this and shifted my focus to helping people and not selling people. And when you think about that for a minute, everything that we do within our business is trying to help people, and sometimes that can get a little bit blurred. So the question we need to ask ourselves as marketers, and business owners, is what content should we be creating? Well, it's pretty easy if you've got two things. One, you need to understand the type of buyers, and two, you need to understand the buyer journey. Not all customers are the same. Some come across and are really easily bought into. Some are really tough, and in some instances, there's probably some customers that you'd rather not have. And we call all these buyer personas. And these really shape how we create the right content for them. To find the right buyer persona for our clients, it takes about 3 weeks, but we're going to do a really quick run through now. So after interviewing some of the customers and internal staff, we come up with the ideal buyer. So what I've done here is I've sort of mimicked the public speaking. I'll go into that in the next one. Nailing it already. So we focus on their pain points, objectives, goals, and challenges. Once we get a really good idea of these items and you've taken into consideration your product and services, we now create content that helps them solve these goals, challenges, and pain points. The content itself is going to be super attractive to your ideal buyer because you have made that content specifically for them. So what content do you make? You make blogs, white papers, calculators, tools, anything that your buyer would need to assist them into the decision-making process. So say we are the public speaking company that are currently killing it at inbound marketing. We're going to take a look at the buyer persona that they have created specifically for Trevor. So let's take a bit of a look here. I'll just use this one here. Can everyone read that a little bit? Okay, so this is kind of almost, it's pretty much cut and paste from our own personal buyer persona template that we use. And I'll share with you, I've got afterwards, our list of buyer personas that we use within our business. And we've pretty much spent a great deal of time trying to define exactly who we can help, but we'll go through it so I don't ramble. And I can point with my little laser point here. So what we can see is a bit of a breakdown here of Trevor Black and exactly how old he is, his income. I'll skip that second one. He's a business owner. He plays PlayStation at lunch. His main type of communication is email. He is a de facto renting in a city, a successful business owner that is asked to deliver a keynote speech underprepared. So I guess what we do is we ask a lot of questions both with the staff and also with past customers, and ask them a bunch of questions to really understand why they purchased with us, but then also from the employees side of that side is exactly where they're finding a lot of their pain points and who exactly they are. We take all that data and we basically spit this out. Our motivation scales, we'll go back here. Our motivation scales here are confidence, fear, achievement, future growth, and social status. That's basically what motivates them. This is exactly where they play in social media. So heavy in LinkedIn, Snapchat. I don't use he doesn't use Snapchat. These are the questions that they sort of often say, I really wish I didn't start a few days out. Maybe if I fill my keynote with humour, people won't realise this is my second one ever. And I might freak out a little bit if Steve Baxter stays around for my speech. He's not here, is he? Thanks, Steve. We've got our goals, challenges, and objectives here as well. So to give an informative and entertaining speech, which is usually the main goal for them. To have a larger crowd than Steve Baxter and Phil DeBella. The challenges only written one. These are the problems, the challenges that he's only written one keynote speech before, and he often gets stage fright speaking in front of crowds. And the objectives is that he really hates bad marketing. And this really circles around the service and product as well. So hopefully that makes a bit more sense. And you can kind of put into perspective that if you're that keynote, if you're that public speaking company and you've really defined who you're looking for, that specific content that you create really has to sort of tackle a lot of those goals, challenges and objectives. And then with the targeting, with the personal details as well, it'll help you in any extra supplementary advertising you want to do if you want to do any paid media. Now here you ask, do they come flocking? Well, not just yet, which brings me to point 2, which is understanding the buyer journey. So when looking to purchase a product or service, we have 3 stages. It's the awareness, consideration, and the decision phase. Now for context, we're going to use our old mate Trevor again. So to break down let's break down his keynote prep speech to fully understand these 3 stages. So in the awareness stage, Trevor is aware that he isn't the best at keynote speeches. So he looks to find a solution to his problem. And in this instance, the type of content that he'd be looking for are blogs on public speaking, PDF downloadable handbooks so that he can do it himself, and also tips on getting over stage fright. Now, these are all things that, like, at this stage of Trevor's journey, he doesn't want to speak to a salesperson. He's not interested in buying something right now. He's wanting to get a really good understanding and be aware of his problem that he has. So once Trevor has spent a few hours reading his problem, he's finally empowered to try and plan it out for himself. Once he knows what his problem is, he is now moved into the consideration phase. In this stage, Trevor is well aware of his needs, and he needs some help with his keynotes. So he finds some videos on how to give a good speech. He's also signed up to a webinar from a leading keynote teacher. In this stage, Trevor has clearly defined and given a name to his problem. So Trevor now knows what he has to do to solve his problem, but he's going to need a bit of help to achieve that. And in this stage, this is the decision stage. So now he decides on at this stage, he decides on how exactly to solve his problem. He knows that he has a 40-minute keynote speech coming up, and it's not far away, so he looks up for local companies for free or paid public speaking courses. He compiles a list and starts making phone calls. Trevor is prepped, educated, and ready to buy. As you can see, different content offerings are needed at each stage of the buying journey. Most of the business that we met and sort of worked with instantly want to say, buy my product. And we often need to just sort of say, relax, chill out, and let's give them all the info that they need to make the right decision. I often get people asking me as well, if I'm going to make all this content, what happens if someone takes it and then buys someone else's product? That is a risk, but the content that you are making serves a few purposes. Firstly, if you provide good content that truly helps the end user, they are going to see your brand as an authority. They're going to see you as an expert, and if they personally aren't going to buy your product or service, the chances are that they are going to mention you the next time they're having a few beers. Have you ever personally recommended something that's provided value in the past? I guess, yeah, you pretty much have, and my money is on yes. The second point on why you would create content that people might want to use to buy someone else's product is the three-word SEO. I had one of my clients, I actually get some clients asking how many SEOs does it take to be on Google. That's my favourite one. But my favourite is that one of my clients called it black magic because he never really understood it. It just happens. It's the act of doing some stuff on your website and somehow it gets shown on Google. Now, I know my way around the old SEOs, and let's get it straight from the get-go. If you're providing useful content for your future customers that is relevant, you will have people linked to it, and Google will reward you for this. The more content you create, Google will start to see you as an authority figure, and slowly, month by month, your website will start to creep closer and closer to the top of the ranks. All of a sudden, you have free, or as we call it in the biz, organic traffic coming to your site, downloading and consuming your content, and converting into leads that you can help. You have no pushy salesman, just really, really good, honest content helping people. One of the biggest gripes I get from clients is that Google ads and Facebook ads give me leads straight away, but your black magic seems to take forever. It's very true, and we've definitely lost a few clients because of that, but it's most SEO pros do recommend waiting at least sort of 9 to 12 months before your SEO juices start flowing. And the longer that you're in the competitive field, it takes a little bit longer. So yes, it does take time. Though even now for the content that is ranking, we are getting people to our site without us having to ever spend a cent. I think in total for my 7 years of running the business, I think we've probably spent, I reckon, about $2,000 in total. And I think probably every single week we get at least 3 new leads coming in just from consuming our content, which has kind of changed the game a little bit from us when we first started, where we were sort of doing $500 here and there, and then we sort of jumped onto inbound marketing, and now we have a steady flow of people coming through, and you kind of feel really good because you are helping people. You're genuinely helping people try and solve their problems. This stuff does take time, and it's important to understand that you're playing the long game. But if you can continue to get your new customers the current way you're doing it, and then start to implement inbound, you will find that new traffic will come in, and your site, new traffic will come to your site, and you can eventually start dialing back from the paid media that you're flushing down the drain, essentially. Imagine a world where all you did was vet calls from people that were informed about your solution and informed about the solution that you provide, and had discussions around pricing from the first discussion. That is, I think, every business owner's and marketer's dream. I'm well aware that I potentially do sound like one of those 3 a.m. preachers. If that works up, because it's my favourite slide, this one. It's me planning my keynote speech on the whiteboard there. I didn't Photoshop that one out. I'm well aware that I sound like a TV preacher asking you to sow your seed for a very low fee of $6,000. It's important to note that marketing doesn't always come with a monster price tag. It comes it costs nothing but time for you to go ahead and your internal team to write blogs, create content, or even just shoot a video on your iPhone. This is stuff that you can do and not involve any agency, extra staff, or a voiceover that sounds like Morgan Freeman, which is actually what one of our clients requested. He said he knew it. If you want to treat your leads how they want to be treated, to help them solve their problems and build longer lasting relationships, then inbound marketing is the way to do it. You're not hassling, you're not interrupting, and you're not trying to sell ice to Eskimos. You're giving people tools and information to help themselves, and they'll reward that. So in summary, because I'm well aware that I've been rambling on a little bit, number one is to really know your customers. Know what they want, where they work, what keeps them up at night, what they're looking for, and how you can help them. Number two, new batteries in this one. Understand the journey of every modern consumer goes through when purchasing. Awareness of their problem, consideration of possible answers, and the decision of the solution. Oh, and obviously try to be that solution as well. And then number three is create a shitload of relevant and interesting content. That doesn't mean it has to be perfect. It just has to show your brand or business as an authority. Start small and make content that really does help people. Keep those 3 points in mind, and not only will you be seeing the world as your customers do, but building some killer relationships with them in the long term. I've been Trav, and you've been great. I've always wanted to say that on stage. Thanks, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you.